All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. I'm Mick Solomons, the developer of the Starting Strength app, and alongside me, Starting Strength coach Alex Koseri,
How's it going, guys?
and Wichita Falls Athletic Club's Rusty Holcomb.
Hey y'all.
How's it going, fellas? What's new in the world of strength training since we last chatted?
Just
Um,
squats.
Yeah, all the plates still weigh the same amount, so nothing too
I
much has
don't know.
changed.
Sometimes in the back room at the athletic club, I think gravity's turned up a little bit. But,
Yeah.
you know.
All right, well, we've got a couple of questions. We'll start off with the questions this week. So, Alan Lewis has a question. What are your takes on alternative specialty bars for the main lifts? Safety, squat bars, trap bars, and press bars as alternates to a barbell for the main lifts?
Trap bar is useless. Throw that in the garbage. We've done plenty of videos on the trap bar and how useless it is. I'm sure Alex says different.
Oh God, yeah, so many
do?
answers.
The safety squat bar, I actually have one client using it. He just had shoulder surgery, so that's the only way we can get him to squat. In my opinion, that is a useful tool, but don't rely on it and get people off of it as fast as possible. It should have one application, and that's for people who physically cannot put a bar on their back correctly. High bar, even if they can't high bar, then you might want to use it. But it's just so awkward of a movement because of the way the weights are so far out and then they hang down. As soon as you tilt that bar, those weights want to tilt a certain way. It's a horrible design, to be honest, but it's the best thing that we can do. What was the other bars they were worried about?
Press bars, pressing. I think he means like a Swiss bar.
I have very little experience with those. I think we had one in the back for a while whenever someone was doing a strongman stuff. I think he was training with it. But I have very little experience with those. But I mean, the fact of the matter is a barbell is pretty much the perfect tool for getting stronger. So just use a normal barbell if you can. But I would never suggest a trap bar.
Yeah, I think, well, to start, trap bars are very fun. You can do farmer's carries with them, very heavy. You can run around and, I like that a lot. I've never programmed them for the deadlifts. I never programmed them for really anything like that. But we had one in my last gym, and we had like a nice turf stretch, but we didn't have like a prowler or anything. So I just used it for farmer's carries, put like 315, 365 on it, and you just run around and feel like a kid. I enjoy that a lot.
I could get behind that.
Yeah. I think because it's so hard to find actual farmers handles unless you're like in an actual strongman gym. They're not going to have handles. But most places will have a trap bar, and it doesn't actually need to be a quality one to do farmers carries on it, because the cheapo trap bars won't have a collar on them, and the handles will just be terrible. But you can do farmers carries on it as much as you want. For the Swiss bars, I've run into some people, with just like a history of forearm injuries or wrist breaks where they won't be able to fully get their hand into this position. So like full supination, full pronation will just be painful for them. It's kind of like if there's a hard structure adaptation, if that's the problem, just press with the Swiss bar. You know what I mean? You can try and just keep forcing that pronation over and over and over again. But I've had some people where they're like, hey, I shattered my wrist in like a car accident. I got a really bad wrist lock and, grappling or whatever. Just use the Swiss bar for as long as you need to. But that's a fairly rare case, I would say. And then for the safety bar, you'll run into a lot of older people, a lot of masters lifters who will be incapable of getting their arms back here, especially if they're more overweight. So I have like some more I have some older guys who are just like meatballs just through and through, just like really wide chest, really short arms. They'll have like a great bench press, but their arms, the ability to get their arm back here, almost non-existent. So for those guys, definitely safety bar. But I think Rusty's right in saying like it's a pretty rare case. And if it's you'll know it whenever it happens. It's not going to be, kind of debatable. You'll be able to tell really quickly if you need the safety bar or not. The one that I actually like the most is the Kabuki transformer bar because you can change the angle of it. Basically where the weights are hanging off of. So if you notice someone has like a specific tendency with it, we know where when they're picking the handles up, the weight's kind of getting backwards or forwards. You can adjust that angle to kind of deal with that person's errors, essentially. And then myself,
I've never seen that bar. I've never seen it. I'm gonna have to do
they're
some
very
research on that.
fringe. They're very fringe. You'll see them once in a while, but for my old meatball guys, I'll just tell them to get a transformer bar, basically. And then, you'll be able to tell pretty quickly if someone actually needs the safety bar. If I ever injure my shoulders, instead of trying to stretch myself in the low bar position and squatting 95 pounds in tremendous pain, I'll just, I'll hop on the safety bar. Mm-hmm.
I think what the main thing is we believe they're tools for rehabilitation, or people can't do things certain way. But if you're capable of using a straight bar, use a straight bar.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Good stuff, fellas. I've got a question for Alex. What's the strength training program like for the Crips?
Oh, so my hair is getting a little bit too long. So I'm officially a headband guy now. I am officially a headband guy. So.
All right. Next question is from Alari Kovanen. I'm guessing from Finland. I've got a lot of questions and videos from Finland this week. I don't know what's going on over there. It's just must be.
Maybe we need an SSC over in Finland.
I think there used to be one. I'm pretty sure there used to be a guy over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and I remember because I actually lived in Finland for a couple of months, and I looked him up.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so he says his deadlift is not progressing because his fingers are not strong enough. Should I use some kind of straps? Just wondering that my fingers won't get stronger with straps. And that might be a problem in the future also with the power clean. What do you recommend I should do?
It could be poor mechanics. A lot of the times people will have some very basic form errors that will dramatically increase how heavy the bar feels in your hands. I've noticed with a lot of people, if they rock behind the bar very far, if they pull onto their heels, it's going to drastically increase kind of the spin out of the hand. It's just going to feel heavier than it needs to. The same way, if you're starting with your hips too low, it may just be like, because you're perceiving the bar through your hands, especially if you're newer to weightlifting in general. It's very possible bad mechanics are just making it feel hard. So post a form check, send one in here, or any of the starting strength pages. But the next thing is, it's pretty rare for that to actually be the case unless you are double overhanding already like well over 300 and you just haven't started doing mixed grip yet. You just haven't started doing hook grip. If you have the finger length for it, try hook grip. If you don't, try mixed grip. If both of those options are just not, very appealing to you, use straps. Deadlifting is more important than not deadlifting at the end of the day. But I would say it's pretty rare outside of like some hand trauma or some sort of like weird ligament injury in the past for hands to actually be the throttling point until you have a very heavy deadlift. And if you have a very heavy deadlift, you'll probably have an opinion on it already. So.
That was going to be my thing is if he's double overhanding, he needs to switch his grip up. That will probably fix his problem. Of course, me and hook grip. I say hook grip all the way. Those are the two things that I would fix. But I agree with you. Deadlifting is more important than not. So don't let that be a limiting factor. Continue to deadlift. Use straps if you have to. If you do use straps, because you physically can't hold on the bar, even if you supinate one hand, warm up without the straps, so you can still get some work done with your grip. And then when you get to your work sets, then go ahead and strap up.
He's saying that his deadlift has gone from, in 4 weeks of the program, I assume that's the NLP, his deadlift's gone from 90 kilograms to 100 kilograms, so 200 to 225.
That's an LP that seems a little bit low, because he should be adding 5 pounds pretty much every workout during the LP.
Yeah.
I really don't see the LP start stuttering out till well over 300 whenever I'm training. Of course, we don't know. Does he say his age, how tall he is, what his body weight is?
No, he said during 4 weeks of the program, his squat's gone from 65 kilograms to 105. But his deadlift's only progressed, sort of 20 pounds in that time.
That sounds like he started too heavy on the deadlift. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah.
So I think this person lifted in the past, overshot the deadlift a little bit, and is now probably still using a mixed grip, or still just using double overhand, excuse me. So switch up your gripping strategy. And then make sure, you're kind of following the program more to a T. Because with that math, if you're adding even like 2.5 kilos, it sounds like you're only deadlifting every other session, which in the beginning you don't have to do. So, make sure you're reading the book.
Oh, man, there it is.
Got it in early.
Send in a video. Yeah. Let's look at your deadlift.
Yeah, send in a video, Alari, and let us know a few more details as well. That'd probably help us out. All right, let's get on with some form check videos. The first one we're going to look at is called "What Went Wrong."
God.
Oh, I haven't watched any of these videos yet.
Okay, well, it's going to be interesting seeing your reaction on this one.
Man.
Oh God.
Rest in peace, guys. Rest in peace.
You know what? They deserve it. I'm sorry. That's great. I'm gonna watch it one more time just so I can
So
laugh
let's
again.
do some math. So I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plates on the bar and collars because they care about safety.
Yeah.
You don't want an
Clearly.
accident where it tips over. Oh man. Jesus. I don't know how much there is to say about this. Please don't.
Here's
do
the
this.
thing.
Jesus.
Yeah. Here's the thing. He knew that he was only going to move the weight that far. He knew
Yeah.
it because he tried turning it around about that deep into the squat. And the thing is, that weight just kept pushing him down lower and lower until he couldn't even put any resistance against it. And his spotter suffered for it. But
And unfortunately, the guy in the back had both of his biceps cut off just from like impact.
Yeah. That's a lot of weight.
So,
That's a lot of weight.
I'm sorry
There's no
that his
doubt
body. Oh yeah, his bodybuilding career is over, unfortunately.
That bar must have, as it hit the floor, it must have hit him right in the chest or the neck. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that dude's dead, isn't he? He's got to be dead.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not worried too much about the chest. I think he would be fine.
With 800 pounds dropping on his chest from shoulder height.
It would be a lot confusing, but I don't think he would die. I definitely think that he broke at least one of his upper arms and probably separated some biceps with that.
Oh man. What he needed to do was hike his shorts up a little higher, and he would have been able to hold that weight up.
It's type. Yeah. Mick, you got to track down the one where this happens when someone was spotting an overhead press. The guy was pressing like 185. He looked like he was like 230 pounds. He like push presses it up, and the guy behind him is like ready, kind of doing like the dumbbell spotting, like where you just grab someone's wrist.
Yeah.
The guy bails the bar behind him, and you just have like this poor soul just like looking at the barbell, and it just smashes right in his hands and hits him right in the face. Great.
He isn't a poor soul because he deserved it. You do silly shit like that, and you get it. You get what you get.
Hopefully he enjoyed the plastic surgery he needed afterwards to fix his face.
Well, the worst part about it is, you got to take a break from the gym. I think that's the...
Yeah.
Bodybuilding career?
Yeah, that's over. That's over. All right, we're going to look at Alexander P. Squats
All right.
next.
The thighs on this man.
This is a muscular
thighs. He's got like calf veins as well.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking straight up. I would definitely move your gaze down. As for just these being a high bar squat, these are totally fine, but they do look very light for you. It looks like you could hit this for 20 if your mind was into it. So go heavier, move the bar down on your back to the correct low bar position, and then shift your gaze down too. And you'll probably settle on the mechanics just fine on your own. The stance is fine, like the attempt at the torso angles should be fine for these. And you look very jacked, so way to go on that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think his heels could come in a little bit. He seems a little bit wide on the bottom.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's my take on it. Everything else looks good. You could probably get a little bit deeper and be a little bit better. Other than that, I agree with everything you said.
Yep.
Be a little bit better, Alexander. That's Rusty's form check advice for you.
Be a little bit better.
Read the book.
Hey,
Make
read
sure
the book.
Yeah.
No. But they look super easy for you. And again, congrats on being fucking huge.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If
If those are hopefully those are 100-pound plates, and we just don't realize it on the inside. And he's just squatting under 500 for these. But if those are standard 45s, you can probably add 40, 50 pounds to these and keep like the same difficulty threshold or RPE, whatever you want to call it for yourself.
I'm not sure what's thicker,
I wouldn't
his
be
neck or his
surprised if they were
thighs.
100-pound. What's that?
I was going to say, I don't know what's thicker, his neck or his thighs. He's got a big
Yeah,
old neck
right.
on him as well, Alexander. But... Sorry, what were you saying, Rossi? Go ahead.
Oh no, I wouldn't be surprised if those were 100. No, they're 45s. I can see the 45 on the plate. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You got to bump them numbers up, man. You're more than capable of it.
Yeah, bump the numbers up or hit that for 25, I would say.
All right. Thanks, Alexander. Our old mate Cole Muth, he's back. This is the guy.
One where we.
Whoops. There we go.
You still with me?
Yep, we're all good. Yep.
Cool.
So yeah, just watching.
Yeah, the grip seems a little bit wide to start. If you notice your forearms are tilting out like this way, it feels like you're externally rotating. The grip is too wide. The way that I like to teach the grip is, put your arms straight out in front of you like a zombie, and you want the angle between your arm and your chest to be just 90 degrees. So if it's tilted out, it's tilted in, it's wrong, and just walk straight into the bar. It's going to be a little bit more narrow than what you have now. I'd probably say by about like 1.5 inches, 2 inches on each side. But the hips look okay. These look totally serviceable. This video seems to be like a minute, so I think there's a few sets in here. Rusty, what do you think?
Yeah. I agree. I think his grip is too wide. He needs to bring that in a little bit, and your way of getting a tighter grip is pretty much how I do it. I tell people to reach straight out in front of them. It's gonna feel weird when you unrack it because you're not used to having your hands that close, but it doesn't matter how it feels. It matters how it looks. One thing, and this is something that I deal with my kids a lot, is they like to rest that bar on their chest. And if you're trying to get that bounce, that stretch reflex to help drive more weight, you can't really bounce a bar if it's already on your chest unless it slides down your chest, which your elbows will tilt back. So you need to float that bar under your chin, and don't cheat yourself by bringing your chin down like this. Have a good neutral neck. Keep that bar under your chin. That will give you this room right here to bounce that bar and then accelerate it up. Other than that, bring the grip in, and these don't look too bad.
Yeah, next thing I would say is in your later set, I can see your feet a bit more clearly. You are very narrow. When you're narrow, a lot of the times you will have an easier time bending your knees. If you have a wider stance, it's really hard to actually use like a little bit of a push press or a knee kick with these. So just take your squat stance. Just widen your stance up basically like a foot and a half, and keep squeezing the knees. This looked pretty hard. So, I think if you're doing your LP, you may be very close, within 2 to 3 sessions away from ending the LP on your press.
I think he could still drive that LP if he masters that bounce. If he starts holding that bar a little higher and actually bouncing the bar, I think your LP could probably drive a little bit further. These are hard. That was a pretty good grind at the end. But widen your stance, hold that bar with a little more authority, and bounce it harder. And I think you can probably start putting some more weight on that bar a little bit.
Which basically just means like get good, basically.
read the book, get good.
Just get good, man. Get good.
But one more thing, your elbows, as soon as you start that press, they start to flare out. Keep squeezing them in. It's gonna feel weird, but if you can keep your elbows in, I've seen a lot of people press a lot more weight because their elbows stay a little more forward. They're gonna have to externally rotate to lock it out, but you want to kind of lead with the elbows all the way up as far as you can. And then,
And some pretty impressive curling in the squat rack going on in the background. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Did I miss that?
Yeah. Both these sets, there's someone curling in the squat rack.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
What's he curling, though? Because if you're curling over 135, go ahead. Do that in the squat rack.
It's some middle-aged bloke with a beer gut curling about 45 pounds.
I'm starting to see it now. He's living his true life.
Yeah.
He's repping those fast, man. Respect, man. Respect.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the trainer from a couple of weeks ago with the orange chucks on as well. Getting serious.
Yeah, I think the cheat curl is a very underrated exercise. If you can cheat curl 225, you're a strong dude.
No comment from Rusty. It's just, he's getting sick of it. All right, let's move on. Thanks, Cole. Keep the videos coming, mate. David Netherton squat. Oh, this guy's living the dream. He's got a pool table, his squat rack.
Full table round behind it.
We're just gonna watch a single here, or a short video.
Yeah, looks like.
Yeah,
it's
this looks like
single. Yep.
like a PR.
Yeah.
So you're leading with your chest, David, and a lot of times you'll see this anticipation on like single attempts or really just kind of any heavy PR, where people will kind of jump the gun and they'll push their face down and their chest down is a way to initiate the movement. Think about initiating it only with your hips, because what's happening is that your upper back is collapsing and it's making your bounce out of the hole really hard. Because again, you want to pull on something with like a rigid member, like you don't want to pull on something with a fishing rod, basically. And that's basically what your hips are trying to do now. So think proud chest, think chest up, Superman chest, whatever you need to think about. Pull your head back over your shoulders, stay in hard thoracic extension, and be a little bit more patient. I would be interested to see a working set of squats, but I would bet that your descent speed on this one was faster than normal. So staying tight and squatting it down for an extra half a second is not going to kill your energy for the way back up.
Yeah, I completely agree with pretty much everything you said. One thing I would, and this is going to be hard to really evaluate since I don't know what your programming is, but if you're programming in heavy singles and that what looks like, what do you think that is, Alex? You think it's close to 300?
I can't tell if those are 345s on the bar and they're just thin plates, or those two. Okay.
They're definitely.
Yeah, I'm on a pretty small screen right now, so you're probably on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's
so
like
it looks
245, 75, 80. It looks like 285 to me, right?
Yeah, that looks about right. It's around 3, close 285-ish.
Okay.
I don't know what your programming is looking like, but if you're doing heavy singles or maxing out at that weight, stop. Just you could probably still drive an LP. Again, I would like to see what your work sets look like, but stay away from heavy singles for a while until you start getting in the upper or mid to upper threes. Because at this weight, you could probably just still drive an LP pretty hard. Again, I don't see a lot of grown men shitting out of their LP until they start getting in the low mid threes, maybe a little bit more. That's just from my experience from clients. So yeah, I would stop doing the heavy singles or trying to max out. If you're trying to max out every time, then you're cheating yourself pretty hard.
Yeah, as a general note, is that the fatigue cost for PR attempts when you're very new to lifting, it's not necessarily worth the return because you're going to set a new PR every time you go into the gym anyways. Yeah. So it's just like this may end up screwing up, your squatting or your pulling 2 days from now because of how hard this was for you. Whereas instead you could have done like some moderate difficulty work sets and gotten more of a return later on. But who knows, man, this may have been quite the ramp up for you, but yeah, interested to see what your programming would look like, Dave.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, and if that was a PR, congrats.
Yeah.
Try
Who's
harder
next?
next time.
If it was a PR, any PR should be celebrated. So if that was a PR, congrats. But if you're trying to PR all the time with singles, you need to change up the programming a little bit.
Yeah, send us
I'm
an
going to
email.
email
Dave,
Rusty all of my cheat curl PRs. Congratulate me. I demand to be congratulated.
Okay, yeah.
Got a couple of comments in the chat. Mark S, that's the greatest form check I've ever seen. I think he's talking about the dude falling over at the start. And the Devil Guy 04 RIP. I think that's also for that same video. So
he's actually buried right there. When that weight hit him, he is now buried in the ground. They just put a tombstone right behind the squat rack.
Next up, we have Elle. Oh, Elle's back.
Yeah.
I think she's sorted out her squat from last week.
Does she have those Reebok Legacies last time, or are these squat shoes new?
I think she
They
had
look
last
new
time.
to me.
No,
They look new to me.
I think we had her doing deadlifts last time, and I think you told her not to ditch the shoes on the deadlifts.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah, she wasn't wearing them on the deadlift, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, could have been. Yep.
Yeah, I think these look great.
Yeah.
Someone who wants to nitpick could say the squat may be a little bit too narrow, but who cares? I think these are totally fine. Keep on keeping on.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
One thing, and again, your arms are kind of blocking, but it looks like you're rounding your upper back a little bit to get your elbows up. You can drop your elbows a little bit. That bar will stay on your back and get your chest up a little more. Just think about squeezing your elbows together. I would get a bigger chest out. That would probably help whenever you get to heavier weights. Help your chest from collapsing in the bottom. Drop your elbows a little bit, get that chest up, and you should be good. Other than that, those are pretty damn good.
Yeah, way to go.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, El. Good job. What do we got next? Eric Carpenter, squat.
We're almost to depth. I'm one rep
Yeah,
in. Your guys are faster.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think I'm right with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Eric, we definitely need to get deeper on these.
Oh, he's close. He's so close.
Oh, I know. I'm hoping that we'll see last rep be a little bit deeper.
He's kind of stopping right above parallel on every one. Honestly, these look pretty damn good. Your knees are stopping. You're getting your hips back. You need to get to depth. So the crease of your hip needs to go slightly below your knee. And believe it or not, that will probably help you get out of the bottom a lot easier because you'll have a little bit more bounce off your hamstring. So just force yourself to get just a tad bit lower and then drive those hips hard out of the bottom. Other than that, these look pretty good. What do you think, Alex?
I think it could be the belt, or it could be I don't know. I mean, you'll see this sometimes with belt where people will kind of create a weird depth feedback. Really tight underwear can do the same thing. Essentially, what you're trying to do is shove as much of your stomach as possible down and in between your thighs. So if you're getting that feedback of like, oh, this is what I think depth is because everything's touching, be more patient with it. You're already pretty patient with these. You're basically almost doing a pause squat here. But try and ride that down a little bit more. I would take the belt off and see if you can achieve depth with that because it could be giving you a weird sense of feedback. But otherwise, I think Rusty's notes are right. These are solid squats. They just need to be a little bit deeper.
I'm watching the last rep, and I think he is raising his chest prematurely. I think you need to keep your chest down and the bar forward a little bit longer. At the very when you're coming out of the squat, your hips they're not driving up, they're driving back, and that's because you're raising your chest as you're driving your hips. So I would stay bent over a little bit longer on the way up and work on that hip drive and then get depth, and these would be very solid squats. I do like where your knees are at, though. You're stopping your knees at almost exactly where they need to stop.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Next one we have Jaromir Kraus. Jaromir.
Very cool name.
Sorry if and he's got a bit of weight in the bar as well.
He does. I'm already impressed if he can stand up with this.
That was very fast. Very fast.
This is a strong man. That is for sure.
Very strong man. I don't really see too much wrong with these squats.
Except he hasn't got a spotter standing behind him with his hands on his chest.
Yeah, I have no complaints about that at all. You could hit it for 10 if you wanted to.
Put some weight on that bar, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is his first set of 5x5.
This would be fast for even that, I think.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
It would be.
This is last warm-up fast. So, yeah. Keep on keeping on, man. Your programming seems to be working, so don't fix it unless it's broken, I'd say.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right. That's too easy. Good work, Jaromir. Hopefully I got your name right. Joe Pescato's deadlift.
What do you think's on the bar here? So we got 245s and a bumper, so maybe 3 something.
Yeah, maybe 315, I think. I think he actually mentioned how much was on the bar.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's
340.
340. All right, we're getting up there. So for a lot of people, they will get overly eager on their subsequent reps past rep 1. They'll do a really great job of setting their lower back, and then on reps 2 through whatever, they'll kind of rush into it, and it will increase the difficulty more than it has to. Treat every rep like rep 1. We know you can set your thoracic spine into extension. We know your setup is correct. All of your mental focus needs to be on making your lower back as long and straight as possible. So what I think you'll see it a little bit here. You're rocking backwards to set your back, and you're essentially just bunching up with the lower back, and it's staying rounded. It's not really ever getting straight on your later reps. So be patient with it. An extra 1 second on the floor isn't, it's not going to be make or break for the pull. But be patient with it. Spend more time setting your lower back, and I think these will be totally fine.
Yep, I completely agree. It's they're pretty good deadlifts. Just a tighter lower back, and you'll be good to go. Good job on those.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you guys are agreeing way too much today.
It's weird.
We can talk about bodybuilding later. It's fine.
All right. Thanks, Joe. I think we've got another video for Joe next week as well. But moving on, Jordan Fraughton's deadlift.
He's in a garage gym. Very cool.
Yep.
Is he another case of the long torso, short leg brigade? Kind of, it might just be the t-shirt.
I don't know if they're a brigade, but
it looks to be the case. Honestly, man, these are pretty damn good deadlifts. He could get his chest up harder in the bottom. That would help with the lockout, like doing less work in the lockout. But I don't hate these. What do you think, Alex?
I don't hate these either. I think actually it's not too dissimilar from the last set of deadlifts. I think that you're giving us a really well extended thoracic spine and pulling it quickly. But I think that if you were a little bit more patient with your lower back, that it may feel easier, it may feel more consistent. Generally, if you have like a soft set in the lower back, you'll notice more inconsistencies with either like how difficult something feels in programming, or even how fast things are moving. So if you're noticing, it's not as repeatable as you'd like, check your lower back again. But otherwise, I think these are really solid, very, very solid.
And he's achieved the shaking of the camera when you lower the weight down, which is always
it's so
always
cool.
a good goal.
It makes you look so much stronger than you really are. It happens on my rack pulls. The camera will shake, and then I get people like, "Oh my gosh, that's so badass! You're so strong." And I'm like, "I know, I'm really not."
I just have my wife shake it for me if she's filming for me.
People screaming in the background.
Oh my god.
I did my rack pulls on the other side of the gym, and for some reason, it wasn't shaking whenever I was doing my rack pulls, and I was so upset when I looked at that video, I almost didn't post it.
You should have just dropped the bar. That would have been fine, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just straight on the pins. Yeah. You have these 90-year-old barbells.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I do, man. I just boom every time.
Yeah.
I just want to get that shake.
KC. I'm not sure. I'm guessing this is a squat. All right. I had to fast forward this video a bit. There we go. There he is. Well, he's right up on that mirror.
That's very intimate.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Turn
gosh.
around. Turn around, dog.
Yeah.
No reason to be right there.
Yeah, get away from that mirror.
All right, so you're starting with your thumbs around the bar, not over the bar. And the bar seems to be about an inch high. So I'm not even at rep 1 yet, so he's just on his walkout. So if you're ahead of me, Rusty, go for it.
Yeah, it looks like he's kind of doing a high bar because his chest is straight up.
Yeah, this is
you're not
totally
hitting that. Yeah, you're doing it. And even with the high bar, you're still letting your back go, man. You gotta get your back, fully extended and keep it extended with a big chest the whole time. As soon as you break into the squat, which is about 33 seconds into it, the first one isn't too bad. The second one, you're just like slamming to the bottom, and that's when you're getting loose. You need to slow down a little bit, make sure you're tight with a big chest, get your knees out a little harder. If you can, it looks like you could get low bar. Try getting into low bar position. That will help you out dramatically. Take a little bit of weight off. Make sure you're setting your back harder. Maybe invest into a belt, and quit looking in the mirror. Those are
Yeah.
my big things.
If you're trying to fix your high bar, you need to think about letting your knees go forward the entire time. You don't really want your knees to be anchored, especially kind of with the way that you're built. You're off essentially because, if you let your hips go down any further with where your knees are, you would just fall backwards. So to
Yeah.
solve that, the knees need to go more forward. But I think that you're actually pretty well built for a low bar. So I think, if you move the bar down about like 1.5 inches on your back, get your thumb on the same side as your fingers. So, the entire hand over the bar, and then look down, shove your chest down. I think these could be totally fine. I don't think there's anything too weird about you that you couldn't do a very nice low bar squat. But definitely move the mirror. Keep it, but move the mirror.
Yeah.
So
I think he should just put the bar on the other side of the rack, flip the rack, so you're not staring at the wall. I mean, it's going to be real hard to have spatial awareness when you're looking at something literally 6 inches from your face. So I would turn that bar around so you got further way to set your gaze.
all right. Thanks, Casey. Melanie Sitnik. Oh, hang on. She told me how to pronounce her name in the email. let me make sure. Yeah, it's Sitnik. Okay, there we go.
Sitnik.
Yeah, I'm looking at the videos called 2 at the moment, where she knocks over the block.
So we got a 185 single, I think. Here. All right. Is that a 10? I'm not sure.
You're close, Melanie.
Yeah. Is there another video for her afterwards?
Yes, I'm looking at the one that's called number 2. Let's look at number 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. On the number 2, you're real close, but if you notice at the very, very bottom, when you go to turn it around, it almost looks as if you're relaxing a bit, and your hips, they're nice and back, and right when you turn it around, they push forward, and that's whenever you hit that block. So you need to keep your hips back as hard as you can and feel that stretch. If your hips are tilting forward, that knee angle's closing, and you're not going to get the stretch out of your hamstrings to help drive that bar up. That's obviously what you're trying to fix. Maybe take a little bit of the weight off and keep your hips back, and then start feeling for that every single time you squat.
Yeah, I agree. This seems to me like you're overthinking it at the bottom. You'll kind of be able just to see apprehension in the way someone's moving. So whatever you're doing, if you're doing it with a barbell, do it with authority. You don't want to be kind of like a little bit timid about it. So if you're going to go to the bottom, get to the bottom. Do it with authority. Do it fast.
That's one of the
you'll see a lot of these errors pop up. Kind of like hip inconsistencies, knee position inconsistencies when people are actually thinking about it too much. So just give yourself a very simple goal. Try to hit it each time. But yeah, Rusty's commentary was correct.
Yeah. One of the cues that I give whenever people, like you said, are hesitant about it is don't feel for it. Just go to it. So your hips are supposed to be back in the bottom. Don't feel for whenever that turnaround needs to happen. Just set your hips back and then get down there. When you overthink things, especially squat and the press are where I see it the most. When people overthink things, they're thinking about one thing too hard, and then everything else goes to shit. So give yourself that one simple goal, take a big breath, and just do it.
Okay, all right, Melanie. I'm glad we got your name right as well. That's a relief. Rob Biley, I think. Yeah, we had Rob on last week. We had what did we have last week? His deadlift and his power clean, I think.
I'm
kind of curious.
Yeah, he's outside. Very cool setup.
Yeah. He's got a bit of weight.
Right, I just got to it, guys.
Yeah, he's got a bit of weight. Well, we're still waiting for his setup. His notorious 3.5 minute setup before actually he's wiping off the bar with his towel at the moment. He's wiping himself off with the towel.
All right, so I'm 1:30 into it. Yeah,
we're watching the whole. We're watching the whole thing. This is
Let me know when you guys are at the lift.
Yeah, he's got one hand on the bar now, so he's got both hands on the bar. He's getting there. He's grimacing. We're at 50 seconds in.
I'm about halfway through rep 1 right now.
Okay, I'll fast forward through.
Okay. I just started rep 1. One thing that I noticed, and I'm actually probably going to be doing a video on this pretty soon, is people, what I call staging the hips. It's where they come out and they're already leaned over a little bit. They got this big back angle. or they overset their hips too much, you're doing that. You've got this big angle onto your back. You need to stand up more upright whenever it's time to squat, and then just don't think about pushing your hips out. Just bend over, and then your hips will go back naturally. But the staging your hips puts a lot of strain on your low back, and I've seen people have sciatica flare-ups because they hold the weight like this the entire time they're squatting. So stand up all the way, bend over, point your chest down, come back up. You're also squatting pretty high. So those are the two main things that I would fix. What do you think, Alex?
Take your belt off when you're walking around. You're walking around like you're 110 years old. You aren't. So have a day or two where you're just moving around. I don't know, do some sports, play some Frisbee or something, just to kind of build up some confidence. But you don't want to feel so fatigued that you have to walk around like you think you're going to fall over at any minute, and then try and squat heavy. I would get some longer safety bars. Your safety arms look like they're like the 8-inch versions. I don't think those will help you too much, especially if you're squatting heavy. And this seemed pretty heavy for you. So invest in some safety bars. Rusty's, right about staging the hips and everything. I actually think you could do with your knees coming a little bit more forward. So, less thinking. We can tell that you're just trying to collect yourself, and, you're staging the hips. You're descending very, very slowly. Just think, drop your butt straight down in between your heels. Stand back up totally straight. I think thinking less would be very helpful on these, with a little bit less build up to it. I think the anticipation may be killing you on these.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. We've got a comment from Melanie in the chat. She just said to say thanks, fellas, and the name sounds good.
Hey.
So,
Yay, we did it.
all right.
Good.
It's
Mission accomplished.
My contribution to today's episode. Tamim Z or Z. Oh, he's got his mask on as well.
He's lifting with the mask on?
He's got a mask on.
Hang on, my computer's running a little slow. Okay, there we go. Whew. Could not do that.
No, you can see the thing that's just expanding like a parachute as he's breathing out.
I have a few clients. Tamim.
Mean. All right.
But I have a few clients right now who have to work out with masks on just because the states that they're in. Get the shittiest mask that you can find. It will be helpful because it will just limit, it won't actually be that interruptive. Like if you can get like a 99-cent gas station one, and you'll have like big pockets on this side and the top and everything, it'll help you breathe. I've had a few of them who will like try to take like their N95s or like an actual mask in there, and then they'll be like 2 reps in and they'll be like, I had to re-rack it. I thought I was going to drown. So loose masks for these. My take on that is when you're about to do your set, just take your mask off. Nobody's breathing into your face, and you're not breathing in anybody's face. Just take your mask off. You'll be fine. If someone has something to say, just Karen them and move on with your life. Ask to speak to their manager immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our YouTube live stream is about to get taken off the air now after the last 30 seconds.
Oh shit. The mask thing, man. During your set, your actual squats, I would tell you just take it off. I mean, of course, I've got my particular views about the mask. But
pro mask, right?
What's that?
Pro mask.
No, I am not. My body, my choice. I shouldn't be forced to.
There
wear
you go.
Yeah. So, but I don't want to get political here. As far as your squats go, man, at the very beginning, it looks like you're doing all right, and then you just kind of fall apart at the bottom. You're not keeping, it's the same thing that we've been talking about. You're not keeping your hips back, so you're kind of collapsing, and you're getting way onto your toes. You can actually see your heels come up, and you're pausing a little bit. So when you get your knees to about where your toes are, you need to continue to sit back and just bend over a little bit more, and then drive your hips straight up. Get some lifters. Those shoes are not going to be good to squat in. And you'll probably be able to stay on your heels a little bit better with lifters because of the raised heel, and you'll have a little bit more feel for the ground. So those are the things that I would fix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would get some lifters too. I think you're wobbling both laterally and forward and backwards. So like a wider base lifting shoe would help you out a ton. The next thing is I think the pause is actually hurting you a lot. So like Rusty said, like everything looks like it's totally together, and then when you're actually spending more time in the bottom, then the problems are showing up. If you aren't pausing, your quad does not have to control your entire body's position in space. You can just rely on your hips going backwards. Your quad doesn't actually have that high of a demand right at the bottom. But if you are pausing at the bottom, your quad's responsible for maintaining that knee angle, and your calf's responsible for maintaining that calf angle. It's a tremendous amount of work for it just to stay there. And what's happening is the whole thing is slouching forward because it's just difficult to maintain. So knees right over your toes, anchor them there, send your ass backwards in space, and don't pause. Don't pause. You'll be able to sort. You'll be able to sort these problems out without pausing. But I think pausing is where most of the issues are coming from. So,
yeah, completely agree.
Cool. Take off the mask, cough over everything, and you'll be right. Get some lifters. Yep.
Buy a home gym. Buy a home gym. Yeah, I've had two of my guys so far. They're one of them's in Maryland, the other one's in Virginia with me. They did the thing where they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to take it off during the set," and they would still have like pesky gym employees being like, "Bruh, come on, you got to keep it on every single time." So it's been killer recently.
What happens if you tell them to go fuck themselves? I wonder.
They're like, "Hey, you're using our assets. You can tell us to go fuck ourselves from the parking lot all you want, but yeah."
Looks like that's what I would be doing.
Okay, Tamim, good stuff. Troy's deadlift.
He's our marathon guy, right?
Oh yeah, the ultra marathoner. Cool.
Yep.
I think we got his squat sorted out last week, so now we're gonna check out his deadlift.
I just finished rep 1.
Yeah, I just got through it.
Okay.
Definitely needs to be setting his back a little harder.
Yeah.
And a little bit stronger of a lockout. I mean, those are the real two things that I'm seeing is you just need to take on the first rep, you're taking your time. Take your time actually doing something that's going to contribute to the lift. It seemed like you're just kind of sitting there thinking about it. Actually shove your belly between your legs with high hips and a big chest. That will help straighten your back out a little bit harder, and think about pushing the floor away, not pulling on the bar. On your lockout, think about getting that big Superman chest up the very top, get as tall as you can with your shoulders back. And I think that would make your lockout a lot better. Other than that, they don't look too bad. When you're setting that bar down too, think about reversing the motion. Push your hips back and set the bar down quick. I know you're putting it on safety pins, but you're going to wear yourself out lowering that bar slowly. And also you're ramping it off your legs a little bit because you're bending your knees before you set it down. So just push your hips back and set it straight down.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of this is coming from you holding your brace or holding your breath in your face. So you're kind of puffing your cheeks out. Everything's right here and in your mouth, and you're not getting a really tight brace. The oxygen demands from a heavy set of deadlifts, it's not as much as the things that you're used to. So if you're like huffing and puffing after a set of deadlifts like this, you are holding your breath wrong. Okay, you should be able to hold your brace with your mouth actually open, because all the breath's being held in your chest. You're locking the glottis down, and it should not be able to escape. It will decrease the sensation of difficulty dramatically, as opposed to feeling like your face is going to explode. So figure out how to brace correctly. Just try a few reps, just even with your hands, without the bar, to see if you can get your bracing pattern down. But the rest of what Rusty said was on point. You are keeping your chin down and collapsing everything at the top, which is why I think you're having a hard time with lockout, because your chin is going down. Move your gaze up a few feet, and think about just letting your head come up with your back as you stand up. It doesn't need to be tied down to that spot. Other than that, don't control the bar in the descent. Spend a little bit of time sitting your back. And there was a lot of preset wiggling around when you're over the bar. Try and reduce that time as much as possible. It may seem like it doesn't matter, but it's mattering a lot in your consistency and how you're mentally approaching the bar. So.
Yeah. And the more time you spend down there, the more tired you're going to get. So everything that you do when you're doing the setup should contribute to having a good lift, and kind of just wiggling around and trying to think about, everything that you need to do. That doesn't help. You should already know exactly what you need to do. Follow the 5 steps to set up your deadlift, squeeze hard, and then drive the bar.
Yep. I think that belt looks a bit loose as well. That might be one of the nitpicky thing.
Yeah. It does look a little bit loose. And it's one of those really cool Pioneer belts with the Pioneer cut. I think that is so innovative. Get that belt a little bit tighter. But right now, because you're having a hard time setting your back, keep it loose right now, or a little bit loose. Because if you tighten that belt up, it might give you the false sense that your back is set more than it is. So learn how to set your back on your warm-ups with a looser belt, and then when you get to your work weight, you should be good to go.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed on the belt.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks, Troy.
Hey, good eye. Good eye.
What?
Saw that. You saw that. Didn't say anything about that. Good eye, Mick.
Oh, thanks,
Ready
man.
for the platform.
Yeah.
Ready for it.
Yeah.
I've already got my 3 major points, which is read the book, try harder, and tighten your belt. That solves 98% of issues, doesn't it?
Just say everyone, just get good, man.
Yeah, get good,
Learn
get
how to
better.
read, get good.
Yeah, just don't suck at what you're doing.
Yeah. Another Finland fella, I think, Ville Sundman.
What's going on with the YouTube algorithms that this stuff is going to Finland? What is going on with that?
I'm into it.
So he sent an email alongside with this video as well. So I'll read that while we're watching the video.
Yep.
He's had a 5-month break due to COVID and now been back at the gym for the past week. He's had problems with his squat and unlocking his knees and hips at the same time. He's not quite sure how problematic his current technique is, but he's never had any injuries. Of course, I'm a noob and the weights are light. Okay. He said he used to have a problem with his upper back or chest collapsing at the bottom, and he thinks he's finally fixed it by actively focusing on proud chest at the top. And at his best prior to COVID, he was squatting 215 pounds for 3x5 at 165 body weight. And he's currently 152 pounds and 5'8".
You know, these squats really don't look too bad. As far as your knees and your hips going at the same time, what I like to tell my clients is, my male clients, drop your nuts straight down. If you do that, if you think about teabagging the ground, pushing your nuts straight down, your hips and your knees will go at the same time. Slow your reps down. It's hard to control your knees when you're flying through reps. So slow them down a little bit. This is very lightweight for you. You can definitely drive this weight up and actually get a little bit more work out of your sets. So I would increase that weight, slow your reps down just a little bit, and think about dropping your nuts straight down. Other than that, these actually look pretty good. What do you think?
Totally disagree.
Oh, yeah.
Really, though.
Finally.
Yeah.
It's the last form
right.
check.
No, so yeah,
Tell me
I think the knees and the hips thing's totally valid. I think actually you're having knee slide on these. The whole system is shifting forward, and I normally don't care about that, but you are driving with your chest, which is causing the problem. So the bar speed is tanking as soon as you're shifting into your chest. If you drive your hips up and only up, the knees don't have the option of going forward at the same time. Otherwise, you'll just fall. We're really good at not doing that, but if you lead with your chest, the entire thing can go forward. So you need to very clearly, while it's still light and while you have the opportunity to learn, figure out exactly how hip drive works for you. So when you're doing, the body weight progression, hands together, elbows inside your knees, keep your elbows touching your knees and then send your butt up in the air. That's the replication of hip drive, okay? Your torso angle is going to, not to say collapse, but your hips are going to come up. It's going to get flat, and then you can finish with your chest. I think if you over-exaggerate your hip drive, your knees will stay exactly in place and the bar speed will be consistent. The only times I'll ever be nitpicky about this is whenever you see someone who you know is strong enough to handle the weight, can move it quickly, and they'll have that large stop in bar speed. That's normally the indication for me that they're leading with their chest and the whole thing's sliding. So,
well, I think that goes back to what I was saying though, is he's flying through these reps so fast he's not controlling his knees, and I think controlling the knees is going to indicate how his hips go back and where they go whenever he's coming up. I think if he slows down and focuses on that a bit more, his knees will stop and he will be able to use his hip drive a little bit more.
What are your thoughts? Is that chicken or the egg there? Which one's which?
I don't know. People who tend to fly through reps, their knees just do whatever the hell they want. I think if he slows down, his knees will stop. He knows what he's doing. I don't think these are shitty reps. It's too light, and he's going too fast. If he controls those two things, I think his knees will stop because he is pushing his hips back. Coming up, especially on those last few reps, I do see hip drive. It's not as powerful as it should be, but he's pretty bent over. I think slowing down will help him out drastically, and he's getting pretty deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's real deep.
I think in general, and this is, hopefully this will be the lifelong question that I have for watching people squat is, and I think it's going to be a personality thing from lifter to lifter. But what is actually controlling the knees position? Is it thinking about the knees, or is it thinking about the hips? For me, it's very rarely knee slide being the problem, more of a symptom. Knee slide is whenever I'm coaching people, I always see it, as kind of a result of a different error. Normally that's stemming from a conceptualization of what hip drive should look like. That's what I'll normally see is going to be like the torso, what they're thinking about the torso angle, where they're trying to put their hips, and the knees are going to be a derivative of that. And with very athletic people, they'll be able just to kind of put their knees exactly where you'll tell them to be and reorganize everything around that. But, if you're not lucky enough to do that, then most people have to think about their hips. So I think more about hip drive and staying in your hips, keeping your torso nailed down. And I can't see your eyes in this, but I'd be willing to bet that you are raising your eyes up to the mirror in front of you on the way up.
No, I can see his reflection. It looks like he's looking down.
Okay.
Yeah,
I gotta get a better monitor,
like
man. This laptop's too small.
Yeah, his reflection. It looks like his gaze is down, and we can always go to the tried and true method of fixing knees and put a block in front of your toes, and slow down. If you do those two things, your hips will have no option but to go back whenever you touch that block if you're hitting depth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to any of that. I was trying to work out what's in the tube on the floor. Next to the sink.
Oh wow,
that's liquid chalk, I think.
Yeah.
I hope it's liquid
chalk.
Hey,
I'll go with I hope it's liquid chalk.
Look, what happens in the sauna in Finland stays in the sauna in Finland.
Yeah.
Whatever floats the boat. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kink shame anyone.
No.
You got to put your squat plug in before every rep, man.
Yeah. Well, there's something else on the floor as well there. That could be a squat plug.
The infamous.
All right. Well, that's actually, I think we got through everything. So I think that's we've got no more questions. Anything else you guys wanted to chat about? Bodybuilding. Let's get on to Rusty's favorite topic.
I think I have one person committed to the 2023 natural bodybuilding competition.
Oh my god!
I'm looking for more.
I'm so looking forward to seeing this.
Rusty, you should do it with me, man. You'll still be able to get strong.
I don't want to lose my job. I like working for Rip.
Just do it in secret and just wear hoodies.
Do it in blackface, Rusty. I mean that tanning stuff. It's virtually you're getting pretty close to it anyway.
Yeah, and then he'll come in and be like, "Why do you look so tan? What happened to you?" Be like, "Yeah, I don't know, just hanging out outside."
4th of July, I was out at Possum Kingdom. It's a big lake in Texas where everybody goes to party on 4th of July, and there were some girls that were on the same boat as me, and I was, I burned because I'm white and I never see the sun. And I left my sunscreen at the house, and I asked if anybody had any, and they're like, yeah, and they tossed me the spray-on stuff. So I'm talking to someone, I'm spraying this crap on me, and I look, and my arm is bronze. I look at it, it's got bronzer in it. I'm like, are you trying to kill me, girl? So I had one arm just covered in this crap.
And it looked awesome though, didn't it?
Oh, I looked so jacked.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah. Travis Reed just left a comment. G'day fellas, these videos are great. Thanks so much for taking the time to put them together. No worries,
thanks,
Travis. Man. Send us a video, Travis, if you want.
Thanks to Mick.
Send us a video, Travis, if you want to get your form checked. Or
yeah, definitely.
If you want us to make fun of all of the stuff that's going on around you as well, we're
get a wide frame.
Yeah, put a couple of tubes of stuff on the ground and have someone curling have someone curling the rack next to you. That's always good.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks a lot for your time, guys.
All righty, see ya.
No worries, and we'll catch up with you next week. All right.
Right.
See ya.